Next, we're going to hear from Diann Krywko from Medical University of South Carolina about women in leadership.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my pathways here started on a farm in Michigan with my mom being a homemaker. I was the first to graduate from college, the only one to become a doctor. Fast forward to 2018, in July 1st, I'll be the second female emergency medicine professor in the state of South Carolina. My passion is, flip back. My passion is in mentoring and teaching residents and especially women, and that's what brings me here today to talk to you about women in leadership and leaning into your career. The book is based on facts, and that is what changes things. So I'm Diann Krywko. I have one major disclosure. I would never whisper the F word 2 years ago, but when I learned that a feminist is someone who believes in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes, I am a feminist. My disclosures, I'm a masculinist too. We have 7.6 billion people in the world, about half are women. In 1980, we became half of the graduates of all levels. 2009 became 2/3, so you would expect us to have about 2/3 of the jobs. But the fact is men still rule the world. About 80% of political and corporate jobs are held by men. And when we have men at the top, it's not that they ignore the issues, they just don't know the issues that we have. Academic or women in medicine, this year was the first year we became over 50% of matriculants in a medical school. But we look at the trajectory and it goes down to 20% in the workforce. It's no different for academic women in medicine. We look 46% of instructors down to 17% of full professors. While I was happy in my first career in that 46 range, I'm not happy seeing my colleagues not get to that 17 and raising it, and that's why I'm here. But real barriers still exist to us getting that number up. There's external barriers like discrimination, but it's the internal barriers that we have to work on to get those numbers up. The problem is that it starts in infancy, that we are treated differently. And it goes on into school, where when boys blurt out answers, they're called on more. It's been shown in the study. When girls blurt out answers, they're told to be quiet and put their hands up. That makes our confidence go down, and our self-esteem goes down as early as high school. And we all want to be liked, but gender makes that much more difficult for women. As a woman gets more successful, she is less liked by men, and unfortunately less liked by women as well. So is there a gap in ambition itself? Is that the problem? The answer is yes. The problem is it's in the leadership gap. It's expected of men to be leaders. It's negative for women. Ambitious is not a compliment for a woman. We have unwritten conduct rules that we violate. That is my mom who spoke the F word. So women, what would you do if you were not afraid? If you're not afraid to fail, if you're not afraid to lead? And if you're not afraid, we can achieve things. But how do you do that? Let's learn it together. So the first thing is, think back to the last meeting you were at. Were you at the front of the table or were you at the back of the table? Were you internalizing success or were you externalizing success? The first thing you need to do is get your self-confidence up. You have to know yourself. Study the people who do it well. Take courses. Take tests that show your personality. Practice it, and then sit at the table and don't feel like you're an imposter. The second step you have to do is get a mentor. You also need a sponsor. The difference between a mentor and a sponsor is a mentor talks with you, a sponsor talks about you to other people to get you to where you're going. But really, you need to have and you need to be both to other women. When Elizabeth Cantor, who is a Harvard Business School professor, was asked, what can men do to help women, to advance women in leadership? She simply said the laundry. Women, would you agree? I would agree with that. So step 3, make your partner your real partner. You've got to empower and encourage your partner. We are not easy to live with. There is no question about that. Don't maternal gatekeep. Don't henpeck. It's going to cost you 5 hours of work a week. The next step you need to do is get rid of the myth that you can do it all. We can't. There are no Wonder Womans. Decide what matters, do it great, and then get rid of the rest of the stuff. Get rid of it. Manage your guilt. It's more important than managing your time. So what is the cost of leaning in? It absolutely is costly, but what's the payoff? So this is a text my daughter sent me last year. She said, Mom, you got to see this. She's 10. She got the difference between a boss and a leader. I'm teaching the next generation, so it's worth it. So I will thank you guys for inviting me to Ignite to talk on a topic I'm so passionate about, And I will tell everyone in the room, if you're offered a seat on a rocket ship, don't ask what seat. Just get on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diann, and sorry about your slide snafu at the beginning there. I'm just a beginner at flipping slides. It's not my specialty. CPR would be better if we could do that instead. Okay, next up is going to be
Hold
Alistair
on,
Martin.
I want to
And
give
if we
some
could have-
feedback.
Yeah, I'm calling for that here in just a second. So, Alistair, if you want to come up and we'll get your presentation loaded while the judges give their feedback for Diann.
If it's good, she's anxious.
Just showing a little leadership there. So I really, really enjoyed your slide set. I thought they were really entertaining and very well put together. My favorite part of this talk was the difference between a sponsor and a mentor. And I never, as a mid-career physician, never really understood the difference until you kind of pointed it out, that in fact there are people who we can find as sponsors and mentors, and perhaps they are not as equal in our abilities to get us where we need to go. So I thank you for the topic. I thank you for your passion, and I'm hoping that many of the women who left here will leave with that message. Thanks.
Thank you.